Okay, I gotta fix this.
Oh, wait.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
There we go. There's Miss Shay.
There we go. We got to see everybody this morning because look at these beautiful chicks. I tell you what, here we are. It's now, again, Tuesday morning. It must be 9:30. Must be Village Vibes. And here we are all ready to go. I got to play you guys all a song.
I didn't know he played lots of different songs.
Oh, he's got all kinds of tunes in this little chicken body. Nobody knew what this little rooster was. I haven't figured this one out yet. It says press here.
But nothing happens.
No, his head's tired. I get it. So, welcome, everyone. And in case you're wondering, no, we don't always look like this. We are on day 4 of our shop hop.
Yes.
And, of course, it's Dance with the Chicken Day at the Village store. So, that's why all the cluckers are sitting here together. So, there we are. So, today, I would like to introduce you to our Shay. Miss Shay is our Friday girl. And such a talented woman. We're so very excited that we get to have this beautiful lady here with us.
Yes, we're lucky.
And she's very talented. Shay is a woman she does so many different things. She's a Laura Heine certified instructor. So she teaches that class for us here at the store, and they're gorgeous things that she does. The ladies all
so
really
kind.
love them. So they love them. And she's also a machine quilter, which we'll get into in a little while because we've got a little tiny bit of info to give you. She's going to give you some tips and tricks about taking your quilt to a machine quilter. And trust me, if you follow these rules, your machine quilter is going to love you a whole lot.
Yes.
A whole lot.
And they're the people that you want to keep on your good side.
You sure do. You sure do. Don't take off your machine quilter. I'm just saying. So, Shay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I live in Plain City. I have 2 kids.
Beautiful children. They're so sweet.
They are cute. I'm biased.
I am too. They're amazing.
So, I have an 11-year-old son. His name is Mason, and a 8-year-old daughter, almost 9, and her name's Eliana. And they pal around with me all the time.
They do.
I've been quilting for 11 years.
Nice.
And so I still feel new.
And she's only 18, so she started real early.
I wish I was 18.
Well, let's add that back up from her children. Let's not add 18. That doesn't quite make
18,
sense.
That's only 7. That's pretty young. All right, if we made her, let's see, 11 and 13. Okay, she's 24. I lied.
Also would be amazing. So yeah, I dabble in a little bit of everything. Like Fran mentioned, I love collage quilting, and it's like a passion of mine. I love my piecing. The more complicated the pattern, the happier I am. Machine quilting, I love machine quilting. I get excited for my piecing just so I can get it on the frame and think of what fun design to put on there.
Yeah, her quilting's beautiful. And Shay does quilt for people. So if you have a quilt that you would like to have quilted, you can call the store. I don't know, do you want us giving out your phone number? I think we have it written down up there. Yeah. Oh, or you can bring your quilt in on Friday and meet with Miss Shay, talk to her about what you would like to have done on it, and
that'll work great.
That'll work great.
How long have you been machine quilting?
So I actually started, when I first started quilting, I didn't know this world existed. And the very first quilt I made was actually from scraps from people in my community. And at the time, I didn't even know long arms existed. And I didn't even know that you could hire somebody out to do them. Like, that just wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for 10 years, I quilted on my little 930 Bernina that I inherited from my mom. And I did that for little less than 10 years. I got my long arm about 3 years ago, and I kind of just dove in. I was so excited,
And some people have a knack.
Yes.
Some of us struggle for
I do not.
years with trying to. No, Shay has a knack.
Yes, she does.
She really does. She's really, really good at quilting, and she does a beautiful job. We have some quilts here in the store that Miss Shay has quilted. So if you want to see her work,
Yes,
We-
you
we-
could walk around
yeah,
and ask them, please. We can show you which one she's
Yes.
quilted. She's got one up that's quilted right now that people were raving about on Saturday. How beautiful the quilting was on it. I think it's I might be the swallowtail.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
just gorgeous. So
Yeah.
you could take a look. And that's kind of nice sometimes, I think, to be
To
able to
see.
see a quilter's work.
It always is. And I'm really picky here at the store about who I refer customers to. We'll just say some machine quilters do a better job than others. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it
Well,
at that.
and some
So we're
have different
picky.
styles, right? So
Yes.
you have to find one that matches your style
Right.
and your schedule. And
So I just sent a quilt to Colorado, our second Saturday mystery quilt. My daughter that's out there, she and I are doing it together, and she has a gal out there that will do custom quilting. And Shay also does that. But Donna said, Mom, send it out here. We'll have Darcy throw them both on her machine and quilt them both at the same time. So she called, and we were chit-chatting the other day, and she says, now, I'm going to tell Darcy it doesn't have to be over-the-top quilting. I said, oh, no, you're not. Maybe you don't want over-the-top quilting on yours, but mine has to be over-the-top quilting. I'm sorry. Mine is going to be amazing. You choose whatever you want, but Darcy's going to do mine amazing. So when she took him to Darcy yesterday, she told Darcy that. Now, Darcy, I told my mom, but apparently she wants hers amazing. Good morning, Deanna. You don't even have to sneak in, pretty girl. So, but Shay does a beautiful job. But we'd like Shay to give you a couple of pointers. When you're taking your quilts to a machine quilter, there are a couple of things that, as a machine quilter, we really appreciate you doing for us. It makes our life easier, and in the end, really yours as well. So, Shay, tell them a couple of things that you like to have them do before they bring their quilt to you.
So a couple things that I personally really like. I'm never going to criticize anyone's work. And we're not talking about perfection here.
No.
Your piecing does not have to be perfect
No.
to have results on the long arm come out really nice.
Yes.
But there are some things that will help me and will help you enjoy the results much better.
Yes,
So
good way to put it.
the first thing I really want to talk about is your borders.
Yes.
Okay, this is a big thing. Putting your borders on correctly really is so important, because when you cut your borders and you just sew them from top to bottom, your borders are gonna do this. And that makes my life harder, because then I have to figure out how to manage all that fullness. And even with all the tricks and tricks that I've learned over the years, there's only so much that I can do. And so you'll still end up with fullness in your borders. I mean, I try my best to avoid puckers, but you might end up with a seam in your border to ease in. And so there's a couple different ways that you can put your borders on correctly. My favorite way is measuring the top, the middle, and the bottom.
Yes. Good.
But a couple inches down from the top. Right,
Yeah.
not
Yes.
the very, very
Yes.
top.
Yes.
Couple
Yes.
inches down from the top, the
Yes.
middle, couple inches up from the bottom.
Yes. Good one.
Then you take your averages of those three and you cut your borders to that. Then you pin, after it's cut, you pin the top and the bottom and the middle, and then you ease your border in the rest of the way. And then you would do the same for the other direction. That's my favorite way.
Yes. Mine too.
And
Mine-
I always
yes.
press, this is my way, but I always press a center fold in my border and press a
Yes.
center fold in my
In
my
your
top, so I know my center's up, I know my ends are on, and then it's not usually that far of a distance
Right.
between those that I can just kind of ease in.
Yes.
So
And
that's
you
a
can
tip.
you can pin it, you know, not just at the three places. You can have
Oh, yeah,
more-
I pin.
definitely more pins along there. So if there's a little fullness in either it should be in your quilt that you have a little fullness, not necessarily that border piece again. So if you have a little bit in there, you can ease that in easier if your pins are at a shorter distance in there. Really, really important. One year Donna came out, brought her first quilt ever, wanted to throw it on the gammal, and we laid it out on the floor, and her border went like this. Now that girl does beautiful ones now, but it was really crazy. I mean, it was like the deep blue ocean that was just rolling along. I said, honey, you can't put that on. Well, why not? I said, here's what happens. You can quilt, and then when you get down to the bottom, you have this much border with no quilt. There's nothing you can do about that. And like Shay said, at that point, what do? You have to either make big tucks or pleats, or it's not a pretty sight. So your borders really, really, really are very important. So if you ever take a quilt to a quilter and she says, I need you to come get your quilt and redo these borders, don't be offended. She's not criticizing in any way, shape, or form how you've made that quilt. She just wants you to end up with a better result. And so your borders are really important, that you do a nice job with your borders. Very important. So, and what else, Miss Shay, besides borders?
Yes, so,
I'm sorry. I may have just laid
You
an egg.
balked.
I just balked. That was done all on its own. I don't know what just happened. I set him up, and he just decided he wanted to talk too.
He probably is more exciting to listen to.
No.
All right, so another thing that can really help, a lot of patterns out there, when you're done with them, you end up with the bias along your edges. So one thing that really helps, because we know that with the bias it stretches, and so when I put that on the long arm, I have to be a little extra careful. One thing that you can do to help prevent stretching, because I never want to stretch anyone's quilt when I put it on the long arm. Like, that's the last thing that we want to do. Because when that comes off, if it's stretched too much, it's going to go, it's just going to shrink right back together. So if you have one of those patterns that has the bias edges around the whole side, just do a stay stitch on your sewing machine all the way around. That's just going to stabilize your edges and will make that easier for your long armor to load.
Yeah, and if it's about between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch in, you won't have to do anything to that when you put your binding on. It'll all be hidden in there, and that's a really good tip to stabilize those outside edges.
And
really
even if
good
it's
one.
not a bias,
I still
any
do
of your
mine.
seams,
Right.
any of your seams that are not closed into anything yet, just kind of like to pop open a little
They
bit.
do.
And when they get a little bit of tug from your long arm, then they might even pop open a little bit more. So I've heard that been referred to as the victory lap.
Oh,
After you
I like
sew
that.
your top, you do that stay stitch, and that's your victory lap.
I like
And
that.
so that's a good tip. I like
Does
it too.
somebody stand at the end with a little black and white flag and wave it around? For
Yeah.
them as well? I think they should. They should. One other thing I would like you to talk about, size for their backs, because that's an issue sometimes too.
And I was going to talk about that next.
Good.
So a lot of times I get asked, why do long arm quilters need so much extra on their back? One of the main reasons is because when we get it back and it's not square, we have to have that extra fabric to square it up. Make sure you talk to your long arm quilter. Every long arm quilter wants a different amount extra for their back. I personally, if your back comes to me squared, 3 inches is plenty for me.
3 inches on both sides.
On
all
both
around.
sides, so 6 inches bigger than your top. That's me personally. But if you're bringing me a back that is not square, and you bring me only a back that's 3 inches bigger total, that's going to cause problems for me. And for me, a back that lays flat on my arm, long arm, is as wonderful to me as biting into a giant chocolate chip cookie. Like, nothing brings me more satisfaction than having
loading a nice quilt.
a flat back on my long arm.
Nice.
And so just keep in mind that you know, doing your best to square up your backs before bringing them to your long arm quilter.
Yes.
And if you don't want to square them or you don't know how to square them, you can always talk to your long arm quilter or just bring her extras so that she can square that up for you.
Yes. So one thing on quilt backs, the 108 quilt backs have turned into such an amazing value. And the quality of the 108s now are so much better than they used to be as well. But here at Village, we tear our backs. And we tear those for a reason. It keeps them on grain. Now, sometimes when you look at those and you look at the piece on the bolt, the other day I was doing one, and honestly, the one side was a good 9 inches shorter on the bolt. Here's
That's what
happens.
It appeared.
It was what it
but
appears.
it was on grain.
It was on grain. Because when they roll these really wide pieces on the bolts, you have a huge piece, and their machines really are not as equipped to roll the longer pieces, the wider pieces, as they are the 42, 44s. So at our store, that was a lesson we learned when we first started really carrying wide backs. We had a customer bring back a piece, and she said, I took this to my long arm person, and it's off. She said, it is off at least 9 inches on the one end. We're like, really? And in laying the piece out and looking at it, you could see we went like this. So we tear ours. We give you a little extra when we're tearing it in case the threads come down in. But then it is always on grain. So if you're doing a wide backing, wherever you're getting it, make sure that that piece is on grain, whether they're tearing it at their store or
get a little extra.
whatever.
If they're not tearing it, get a little extra so that you can tear it.
He has a lot to say this morning. Maybe he's saying we're done.
I think he needs a break.
He needs a break. He needs a timeout.
That's a great point.
He just had to have a timeout.
But we do need to have Shay show her
We've got to have
work that she
yes,
brought.
Yes, we do need Shay. Thank you for sharing some tips
Fred
about
will hold your chicken that's
Can I
quiet.
just say one more?
Oh,
Oh,
one
yes,
more thing.
please. Yes,
Okay,
please.
with backs.
Yes, please.
If you're not using a wide back and you have to piece it, use a half-inch seam and press it open.
Yes.
That will reduce the bulk in your back. So that was just the last thing I wanted to mention with the backs and piecing.
And sometimes it's nice if you can piece your back horizontal instead of vertically, because as you're rolling your quilt on the bar, what happens with that seam? You've got all of that bulk that's in one spot. So your quilt right in the center, it's going to take up more space. And so you end up with your sides kind of being loose and floppy. So if you can do it horizontally, or we can load your quilt even horizontally, that helps reduce some of that. But yeah, and a bigger seam when you're pressing it open. And I even do a shorter stitch when I'm doing my back and pressing that seam open, and that kind of helps. And okay, in my old clothing days, when we backstitched everything, I'm going to backstitch a couple of stitches on my back on the beginning and at the end of my seam, just to kind of hold that so it's not opening up. Thank you. Those were some great, great, great tips for when we take our quilts, because most of us, let's be real, most of us do take our quilts and have them machine quilted. My bucket used to be I wanted to hand quilt a quilt for all 7 of my daughters. No. I'm not going to live that long. Sorry, girls, but your mama's just going to machine quilt them, and you're going to be thrilled with them. All right, Miss Shay. I'll hold Shay's chicken now because it does not talk. I don't know if you noticed that, but Shay's been sitting there loving on her little chicken on her lap. But I'm going to take it from her because you have to see these beautiful things that Miss Shay brought us that she's working on now. Show us, Miss Shay.
So one of the things that I've really, really been enjoying is my English paper piecing project that I've been working on for a little while.
So fun. It
And
is so
I have been having so much fun playing with color and playing with fabrics that
and fussy
are
cutting.
not typical, and you know,
And your color palette, maybe?
or your color palette. So I've been playing with a lot of Tula Pink's fabrics.
And why wouldn't you play
No,
with Tula?
yeah,
She's,
so fun.
I want to be Tula's best friend. I
too.
just want to go and watch her draw. That woman, the
it's
talent just
beautiful.
oozes out of her. Oh, goodness.
So people either love her stuff or don't like it, but when you isolate some of her designs, it's been really fun to play with them. So I just brought 3 of my blocks with me today. This is my first one.
Yeah, let's get close. Here, you talk and I'll hold.
It's upside. Is it upside down?
Oh,
it's upside down.
Look at our cute little guy. It's upside down.
Isn't it amazing?
Look how pretty that is, though. See?
Look at what a beautiful job. Look at how beautiful her seams all match up. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Perfect border for our zebra.
And there's my other zebra.
And look at she's fussy cut all those zebras so they all go around.
Look at that. Oh, Liz making us dizzy.
Oh, but look at that front flower that center flower.
Is also fussy cutted.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Yes,
so,
it is.
There's that one.
And look how her stripes line up.
Look
Can you
at
see
that? And that's hard to do.
Yes.
That is really hard to do to get those that perfect.
But if you want to line up stripes, English paper piecing is the way to go. You're not going to line them up on your machine very well without some glue, maybe. But that looks fabulous. So how many blocks do you have done?
I have most of them. I'm only about 5 blocks from finishing.
Oh, nice. And what's the name of this quilt going to be when it's all finished, Miss Shay?
Oh, I haven't thought of a name.
Well, what's the pattern?
What's the pattern then?
Oh, the pattern, this is Smitten by Jen Kingwell.
Yes.
Jen Kingwell.
Okay, so we're going to book Shay for several months in the future to show us her finished product.
Oh, yes.
Pressure's on, Miss
That
Shay.
will motivate me to get it done.
Right.
So you let us know when you're ready to be put on the schedule, because I think everyone would love to see that.
And her little hearts that go around here are just
I don't know that you can see that.
Oh, let me show you.
Get close.
Get close. Look at those hearts. Look at that.
I think
They're
they
just
can
all
see that.
perfect. Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
I think they can see
Isn't it beautiful? Oh my gosh. What a beautiful job you've done, Miss Shay. That is amazing, amazing.
Okay, let me do a couple of shout outs here.
Oh, good.
Janet's with us, and she has said she loves us.
Aw, we love you right back.
She loves the victory lap
I
idea.
know, isn't that a
I think
that's
it's
a
a great
good one,
idea.
Liz. I'm glad you shared that with us.
And she says beautiful EPP.
Thank you.
Way
Thank
beautiful
you.
EPP.
And then Betty Jo Davis, we're glad you joined us. She says hope to get up for Shop Hop.
Oh,
and
you've got 5 days left.
5
lady
days.
Friend. You got time.
5 days.
Got time.
And she said she loves collage quilting. So that's awesome.
Nice.
And Janet says thanks for the tips. Betty Jo says she likes the look of EPP but doesn't like making it. Betty Jo, you and I are on the same team there. I'm not quite there yet, but I don't have a lot of time for hand stuff yet.
Yeah,
but maybe
that's
one
true.
day.
That's true. She's busy. She's got little ones that take up a lot of time.
They take up a lot of time. And I sit at a lot of track meets and stuff, and I don't take EPP there.
No.
But Erin says gorgeous. So
thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. We actually need to get back to the chicken coop because we have to open our doors here for Shop Hop in just a minute.
We do.
But I'm going to go live later today and give you a little tour around the store. And so, anyway, watch for a bonus Village Vibes today.
Village Vibes. Yeah, because there's some really fun stuff around
There's
the
really
store,
fun. And it's fun when we get busy and have all the people here clucking away.
And you might even see a chicken dance.
Oh, a chicken dance. That would be fun.
Could happen. It could happen today. Anyway, thank you all so very much for joining us today. And thank you, Shay, for driving up. We appreciate that.
Yes.
And Liz, as always, my fellow clicker. That's just Miss Liz. She just keeps this going, and she's doing a beautiful job with it. So I thank her. And I wish everyone a great week. If you're coming up for Shop Hop, please travel safely and come on up. We would love to see you. So stay well, be happy. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you. Actually, we'll see you a little later on today.
Yeah, a little later today.
For sure, we'll see you again next Tuesday morning. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye now.